Yes, sir.
I think Alexa went to that. She said it was really, really good.
I still remember my first musical when I was in school. We went up there into the Orpheum and watched Les Mis. And it's like, you just don't forget it.
I saw Hamilton on Broadway.
I saw Guys and
I'm excited to
Dolls
see it.
on the Kennedy Center. That was pretty cool.
Sorry, my culture cut stuff, Kevin. We should say something smart.
Please stand and join me in the pledge of allegiance. Good job. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Notice of this meeting was given in advance thereof by publishing one time in the Keith County News and posting at the City Administration Building as shown by the certificate of posting notice. Notice of this meeting was simultaneously given to the president and all members of the council. Availability of the agenda was communicated in the advance notice in the notice to the president and council of this meeting. All proceedings hereafter will be taken while this convened meeting is open to the attendance of the public. This meeting is being convened in accordance with the Open Meetings Act. Copy of the Open Meetings Act is posted in the southeast corner of the council chambers. Please sign the sign-in sheet located on the table by members of the press. Any person wishing to address the council may do so by standing. When you're recognized, please go to the podium, state your name and the organization, interest, or person you represent before you begin speaking. Thank you. Roll call.
Locke.
Here.
Dupierre.
Here.
Holstein, absent. Kraski,
Here.
Laughlin.
Here. So we get a motion to excuse Dustin.
I'll make a motion to excuse Dustin Holstein from the meeting tonight.
We have a motion by Councilman Laughlin and a second by Councilman LeBlanc. All those in favor? Or please vote. Sorry. Yeah, vote.
4 yes, 1 absent.
Motion carried. Okay, under a consent agenda, we have the minutes of the regular meeting held April 22nd, 2025. We have an appointment to board, the Community Redevelopment Authority, Brady Caskey, completing a 5-year term from October 1st, 2022 to September 30th, 2027. An application for a right-of-way license for Michael Bruner, PAO. Question, who is Brady filling a term for?
He is completing Terry Johnson's
Got it.
term.
I moved to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilman Block and a second by Councilman Laughlin to approve the consent agenda. There's no further discussion or questions. Please vote.
4 yes, 1
Motion.
absent.
Motion carried. Okay, we have no public hearings this evening. Under public forum, we have 3 items. We have a 5-year recognition of Chantel Ray Gorham. And Chantel, if you could meet me at the podium. I'm gonna walk around. Awesome. Go ahead. Right over here. Council, can keep an eye on me. Officer Chantel Ray Gorham began her employment with the Ogallala Police Department on April 13th, 2020. Officer Gorham attended the Nebraska Law Enforcement Training Center in fall of 2020 and graduated that December. Officer Gorham has continued with her education, receiving her associate's degree in science, and has continued working towards her bachelor's degree in psychology with a minor in mental and behavioral health, and is scheduled to graduate in the spring of 2027. Officer Gorham has taken on many tasks for the Ogallala Police Department, being the defensive tactics instructor for the department and a certified field training officer. Officer Gorham is responsible for the ordering of new equipment and uniforms that are needed. Officer Gorham also heads up the Ogallala National Night Out Committee for the Police Department. Officer Gorham has 1 8-year-old girl named Ray Lynn. On her free time, with not being a mom and a student, Officer Gorham enjoys reading and watching documentaries on criminal investigation. Law and Order is my favorite series. Right, we also have under public forum, proclamation for Police Week. To recognize National Police Week 2025 and to honor the service and sacrifice of those law enforcement officers killed in line of duty while protecting our communities and safeguarding our democracy. Whereas the Congress, the President of the United States have designated May 15th as Peace Officers Memorial Day and the week in which it falls as Police Week. Whereas the International Association of Chiefs of Police has declared police officer safety and wellness a top priority, and the IACP's Center for Officer Safety and Wellness promotes the importance of individual agency, family, and community safety and wellness awareness. Whereas the members of the police department of the city of Ogallala play an essential role in safeguarding the rights and freedoms of the citizens of our community. Whereas it is important that all citizens know and understand the problems, duties, and responsibilities of their police department, and that members of our police department recognize their duty to serve the people by safeguarding life and property, by protecting them against violence or disorder, and by protecting the innocent against deception and the weak against oppression or intimidation. Whereas the men and women of the police department of the city of Ogallala unceasingly provide a vital public service. Now therefore, I, Stephen Kraske, Mayor of the city of Ogallala, do hereby claim May 11th through 17th, 2025 as Police Week in Ogallala, Nebraska. Publicly salute the service of law enforcement officers in our community and in communities across the nation. Chief, thank you for your service.
Thank you.
All you.
We're looking for a few good men or women.
All right, and our next proclamation is EMS week. Whereas emergency medical services are vital, we have
We have a lot
what
of
else? Come on up.
And I do have to say, Chief Herman told me to get some spotlight up here for the crew, so I'm gonna do that after you're done, if that's okay.
People, please, sure. Whereas emergency medical services are vital public service, whereas members of emergency medical services teams are ready to provide life-saving care to those in need 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Whereas access to quality emergency care dramatically improves the survival and recovery rate of those who experience sudden illness or injury. Whereas emergency medical services have grown to fill a gap by providing important out-of-hospital care, including preventative medicine, follow-up care, and access to telemedicine. And whereas the emergency medical services system consists of first responders, emergency medical technicians, paramedics, emergency medical dispatchers, firefighters, police officers, educators, administrators, pre-hospital nurses, emergency physicians, trained members of the public, and other out-of-hospital medical care providers. And whereas the member of emergency medical service teams, whether career or volunteer, engage in thousands of hours of specialized training and continuing education to enhance their life-saving skills. And whereas it is appropriate to recognize the value and accomplishments of emergency medical service providers by designating the Emergency Medical Services Week. And therefore, I, Stephen Kraske, Mayor of the City of Ogallala, Nebraska, do hereby proclaim May 18th through 24th, 2025 as Emergency Medical Services Week in Ogallala, Nebraska. And I encourage the community to observe this week with appreciation and support for continued emergency medical services in Ogallala. 51st anniversary of EMS Week theme is EMS Week. We care for everyone. I encourage the community to observe this week with appropriate programs, ceremonies, and activities. Congratulations, team. You have a lot there. I'll hand this to you and I'll work my way out. Thank you. Thank you.
I will do my best not to steal too much time tonight. Chief Herman and you guys that are here, thank you for everything you do for us during a busier week. But we're thankful you allow us to be here on your time. You know, it's very important that we're able to have an opportunity to talk about EMS. And I want to talk about a little bit of data over the last couple of months, just so you can get a small picture of what we deal with on a daily basis and a monthly basis. And as we go over that, it does not reflect EMS as a whole. It does not reflect outside of what our walls here in this county. But it does give you a picture of what the providers that serve this area deal with. And what I want you to take home tonight is that over the longevity of their career, how much these percentages may have affected them over this time. So far this month, we've had 24 calls that have been answered. 75% have been medical, 12% of those have been trauma. Of those 12%, 3 calls were relating into a motor vehicle accident with over a 66% fatality rate. Last month, there were 85 calls for service, 60% were medical and 31% were trauma. We had thankfully no fatalities or no deaths to report, and we will highlight these wins, and that's what keeps us going. These are very small picture of window of variability. And it's relatively small. And for our yet growing area, I ask that you keep them in mind as we go into the larger picture, highlighting our wins amongst the losses for the careers we're about to recognize and observe the sacrifices made over the years. I would ask that we hold applause until after recognition. And in conclusion, we will talk about the average years of service that accumulates to. So not with us right now is Adam Hayward. He's one of our part-time EMTs. Adam's provided 23 years of service, 7 months. He's a volunteer EMT as well in Big Springs, Nebraska. Pamela Ogg, she's served for 21 years and 7 days. She's been an advanced provider for 6 years. Alan Sipley, paramedic, 20 years, 7 months. He's provided 10 years, 9 months as an advanced provider. Del Simmerman, practically Chief Simmerman, 17 years, serving this area in 11 months. Jennifer Ackman, paramedic, 16 years, 12 years as an advanced provider. Teresa Elmshauser, EMT, 14 years, 9 months. Trevor Tetley, 11 years, 10 months, 7 years, and 11 months as a paramedic. Matthew Graves is a part-time employee for us. Currently works full-time in North Platte. He's had 9 years, 11 months, 5 years, 5 months as an advanced provider. Casey Mowell, 6 years, 11 months. And she just recently graduated college with her paramedicine degree. And she will be finishing up her clinicals to join us as an advanced provider out here in the area. Noel Laborni, 6 years, 3 months. Ryan Collette just recently moved here from California with us. He's served for 4 years, 3 months as a provider and 1 year as a medic. Michael Sinyard, EMT, 3 years. Wendell Stevens, Tyrell Most, and Robert Wright, and also known as Chris Wright for us, just recently got their EMT over the last year. And those are the youthful minds coming into this longevity. What I want to highlight is that totality, we have 180 years of total EMS experience to this community. And that is something to be very proud of. And approximately 64 years of total advanced life support experience. So as far as a small community goes, we are very blessed and we are honored to be able to serve you guys in the community and beyond. Thank you very much.
Thank you. That's all we had on the agenda. Under public forum, anyone else here wishing to address council under public forum?
That's where we can.
You can, you can address the council cannot discuss it. So, but you're more than welcome to.
Melissa Maxey of 713 West Second here in Oglala. We thought we were going to be moving forward with trying to decide about our curb stop deal. Just found out before this meeting and wasn't told. I was offered a deal to pay for just our valve and was not told about needing to be put on the agenda, was not told. I assumed that this was moving forward and was automatically gonna be put on. Wasn't given all of the information, so now we have to resubmit, re-go through everything again, and still I want to move forward with this.
Okay, we'll be sure we put you on the agenda for the next council meeting.
Yes, please.
Sorry, I mean, it's,
I got called and said, hey, we'll offer you to pay for just the valve, not for anything else, which I did get the other valve replaced, which cost me almost $200 for it. I was not told, I mean,
Well,
I don't-
when we spoke, you were gonna call me that, you said you
Yeah,
wanted to speak to your
when-
husband and you
but
were
I
gonna call
figured,
me the
well-
next day and you didn't
yeah,
ever respond
which
back.
I should have apparently, but I figured, well, we're not gonna take the deal that we'll just keep moving forward and show up with it, and I was not told that
I'm gonna go in from here.
100% that I needed to.
We were given a timeline on the deal that you told my wife on. Shouldn't be a timeline on it. There needs to be accountability held by outside contractors that you guys hire. I used to be a contractor for 14 years. Whenever I would go into a house, we would do a remodel. If we damaged electrical, if we damaged plumbing, that was on us. We took accountability for other damages. Excuse me. And you guys have an outside contractor that is doing your water and sewer now. And they damage property. There has to be accountability. So we have a counter offer for you. You guys will pay for the valves, half the labor. We'll pay for the other half of the labor and the illegal plumbing that was done past the valve. Because we had no idea about that.
thank you for your comments. We'll make sure we have you on the agenda for the next meeting.
Thank you.
And one thing I would suggest if you have an offer, you reach out to Kevin or let him know that, and we can put that in the agenda packet then.
Okay,
So the council's aware of that,
okay,
but you will be on the next agenda.
okay. I will come in tomorrow and put that on, or do I need to like write something out for him?
Just call him and tell him.
Just call him and tell him?
That'd be fine. All right, moving on, report of city clerk treasurer, financial report for April 2025.
Okay, for the month ended April 30th, 2025, the revenues were $1,216,819.42. Expenses for the month were $1,577,001.55. Fiscal year-to-date revenues are $6,916,048.23. And fiscal year-to-date expenses are $7,801,114.81. With 42% of the fiscal year remaining, the proprietary funds have 89% of their budget revenue remaining. The governmental funds have 56%, and the internal service funds have 51% of their budget revenue remaining. And then on the expense side, the proprietary funds have 89% of their budget expenses remaining. The governmental funds have 56%, and the internal service funds have 7% of their budget expenses remaining. Fiscal year to date, the city has received $542,202.83 from franchise fees, $25,237.14 from telephone occupation taxes, and $80,763.69 from hotel occupation taxes. And for the unencumbered LB 840 balance, currently it is at negative $341,755.74. With this current, in the current month, we have a new grant of $460,000 for the Keith County Housing Development Corporation, of which $290,000 was paid out of that grant this month. Anybody have any questions?
Still looking good. Thank you, Jane. All right, moving on to recommendations of departments, boards, and committees. We have the sewer wastewater amending the sewer disposal contractors special fee schedule, resolution 2267.
Mr. President, the majority of this fee schedule change relates to the language and charging a minimum of up to $80. Or up $80 for up to the first 1,000 gallons and $80 per additional 1,000 gallons or partial additional thousands gallons beyond the first 1,000 gallons. We have looked at this with People Service. It is in line with what other mechanical plants do. Some other mechanical plants have meters for their sludge disposal. We've looked at meters. Meters are $30,000 or $40,000 and something additional to break. Which, that just adds to the cost of the disposal. These rates, as I mentioned, are in line with other mechanical plants. And there is another amendment to the fee schedule where we had on the fee schedule receiving of solids. We really don't receive solids.
So,
Like it's already dried out.
oh, okay, I was gonna ask, what's a solid?
It would be something that you could put into a scoop up with a loader bucket and deposit.
Got it.
And it was 55 before, is that correct?
No, it was, the last fee increase went from 75 to 80, and this is clarifying the language on the measurement.
Good.
Okay, I'm gonna look to our attorney here on this language here. It just seems kind of confusing to me where it says for up to 1,000 gallons and each additional or partial 1,000 gallons. Would it be clear to say something for $80 for each 1,000 gallons or part thereof?
That seems clear off the top of my head. I'm not sure if the current language is ambiguous.
Okay.
Current language is off Google. Okay, AI.
Come on, Ed.
Oh, council members. Mr. Manager, Mr. Mayor. Hi, so my name is Al Sipley. Most of you know me. Those that you do not, I'm a paramedic here in Ogallala. I'm also a contractor. And just recently, I've taken on the endeavor of starting up a portable toilet business, porta potties. And that's obviously why I'm here. And so, currently, I'm obviously a very small step into the porta potty business. And so, as I'm aware, currently now, when we go and we empty our truck, if you will, basically, it's an honor system. How many gallons do you have? It's jotted down or scribed down on a piece of paper. Send it to the city, and then once you're billed accordingly. And obviously, the 1,000 gallons is an $80 charge, and it must be, the math is done if you have less than that, I assume, correct?
If we know what that is.
Right. And so, correct me if I'm wrong, but the amendment or proposal, I guess, is to take and make anytime you physically dump, that's automatically 1,000 gallons assumption. Is that correct?
It would be an $80 charge for up to 1,000 gallons.
Correct.
How many gallons are in your truck?
So, exactly right. So I have less than 40 potties out. I pump them once a week. 200 gallons is what I dump roughly a week. Now, when I first started, I pumped 3 potties. And so it's a very slow process for me. Okay. At this rate, don't accumulate 1,000 gallons for up to 1 month. I have no way to hold or store that until I get 1,000 gallons to come in and dump, obviously, nor do I want to keep that in my truck. Now, I understand being an honor system, if you're not honorable, then that's obviously why we're here. My truck has exactly stamped on it, on a plate, how many gallons of fresh water and wastewater the tank is. And so I have a $1,500 or $1,500 gallon tank. 700 is fresh water, if you will, 800 is wastewater. I have sight glasses on both my freshwater and wastewater side of the tank. So that takes us back to, well, how many gallons do you have? Verifiably, within a little bit, obviously, not down to the exact gallon, you can verify how many gallons I have. Does that make sense? Okay, my concern is, like I said, all kidding aside, for the month, I might accumulate 1,000 gallons. Now I dump every week. Okay. That's an $80 charge-ish for me. To go to $80, an assumption of 1,000 gallons minimum, that's $320 a month for me versus, if you will, at this rate, $80. I'm keeping my head, just barely keeping my head above water with this brand new business. That's huge for me. And so I just was coming to see if there's anything, you know, that can be done or worked out. Like I said, I can totally understand if there's no validity or quantification ways to determine how much this tank holds. I have that. I have a tag that says exactly what these tanks hold, both of them. And I have sight glasses to verify. Now, they're not all the way up the tank. You know, one here. And so obviously, you know, we'll say one's a quarter of the way, 25% up. Okay. And then the next one half, or whatever the case may be. It's not a linear continuous sight glass by any means. But you do have ways to verify that the tank is either half full, partial full, or completely full. And so I guess that's why I'm here, is to see what we can do, or if there's anything we can do to come up with a solution or a plan that basically it's not costing me $380 every time I dump.
How long does it take you to dump?
10 seconds. Literally, I mean,
You get there, doesn't somebody,
yes, so, yes.
how much total time does it take them? You get up there, you have to get somebody over there.
I'll walk you through the process.
So I think it's more than 10 seconds.
What it is, actually, to physically dump is 10 seconds. Okay, now, so the way the process works, the manhole, if you will, is now locked and secured. Okay, which is great. So I call, and I either connect to Riley or Ashley. And then they say when they are available. Obviously, when they're not doing rounds or whatnot. I then go to the office. They come out, unlock. I hook up my truck, or, you know, have my truck sitting there, hook the hose up, open the valve. Once it's done, they lock the manhole up. I put my stuff away and I leave. The actual physical dumping of my truck, because typically 150 to 200 gallons is what I dump a week. Once again, that aspect's 10 seconds, the whole total time frame, 10 minutes.
And then they record the amount and they bill you then.
I fill out the sheet.
Okay.
Yep, I fill out the sheet, that, it goes in a pile with everybody else's sheets. At least that's how it has been. Yes,
Because what you're also saying too is based on the amount of times you have to dump, it's gonna cost you more. If you could hold it for a whole month,
if I could
that'd
hold
be
it for a
great,
whole
but
month,
it's solid, it's waste, so it's gonna cause issues in the truck.
right, freezing,
So what
yeah.
you're saying is, I wanna dump the normal amount that I have, but because of my business, I have to dump numerous times a month, and that's gonna cost me more based on. things.
Right, I pump my potties once a month, no matter what. Now, if I had where I filled my tank up and had 1,000 gallons and dumped it, this would be a no-brainer. You know, unfortunately, I don't have that luxury. Because I don't have that business yet, maybe someday, but I don't have that now.
So when you currently go in, you estimate you have 200 gallons, they get sent to the city.
Yes, sir.
Prorated.
Yes, sir. My very first bill, you wanna know the truth, was for 2 potties, 20 gallons. And I pump my potties once a week, I dump once a week, I try and do it on Thursdays. You may have way more information you wanna know. But that's kind of how I try and handle that, and so Monday or Tuesday, Wednesday, you know, when I'm pumping these, I will keep that on the truck. Thursday, I'm done with my route, if you will. I'll contact the individuals, set up a time, if you will, when it works for them, obviously. And then I'll take care of that.
So,
Fill out my paperwork.
and so Kevin, what would you say too is, the amount of this type of business that comes through our wastewater treatment plant, there's a couple in town, right? But
When
not,
things heat up in the summer, you've got them pump, you have the rest areas they pumped, you've got the lake that they pumped, you've got some other contractors that use our facility. I think they range anywhere from 300 gallons to 1,000 gallon tanks.
And so just kind of for perspective, obviously, like Kevin's absolutely right. Individuals, I don't pump septic tanks, I'm not set up or licensed to do that. Individuals that maybe do that, they have the equipment to hold and, if you will, pump a lot larger volume. Like I said, if I had that volume, that would be great. I'd love to have that and not even have to be here having this conversation. Because that means more business for me, obviously.
Sure.
With that being said, you know, the average household generates about 4,000 to 6,000 gallons of waste per month. The fee for that, not including the administrative fees, is $4 a thousand. I don't generate that in 3 months. And so that's all I'm trying to do is figure out some way, a workaround or a compromise, if you will, because to quadruple the cost for me, and I get it, I'm the only one guy standing up here, I completely understand. But that's huge for me right now.
Kevin, do all these, or you don't know, but do these trucks, these commercial pumpers, do they have gauges on there?
I don't think so.
No. And there is, just as what you said, Kevin, you know, you can acquire metering devices. And once again, the cost of those, might as well just pay $1,000 every time I don't. Because it's just not feasible. And this is probably, you know, on a whole nother or sidestep or whatever. I think what you'll see is the city's cost increasing. You know, the jet pumping, the things like that. You know, that cost is going to be passed on. And it's going to come to the city as well, because you do, obviously, you know, are in that business as well, or have that service performed for you. And so, once again, I'm almost at a point of begging if there's some form of compromise, and I don't know what that is. We had talked, well, maybe we said every time you dump a nominal fee of very minuscule nominal fee is kind of what it equated to. Then that doesn't do you a justice or a service when you do have the contractors that have 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 gallon trucks and they're full. So, you know, like I said, my only, I guess, defense or argument is you can verify what's in my tank. Within reason, not down to the quarter gallon or anything like that by any means. But, you know, I can't come to you and say I've got 100 gallons when I've got 600, 700, 800 gallons, because cyclists don't lie.
To encapsulate what I hear you saying, Al, is it's the size of the tanks that we're discriminating against it. And maybe we should be looking at accommodating maybe half the size of the tank as opposed to 1,000 gallons.
I don't know. I don't know, because I take and look at it the other side when an individual comes in that's got, you know, these huge vac trucks with no visual verification, and they tell you it's 500 gallons, was a 3,000 gallon tank.
No, we know that it was different than that.
And I'm assuming that's why we're here.
But
Let's be honest.
our guys would know what the size of the tanks are,
Yeah.
so.
Absolutely. And like I said, I'm sorry, go ahead. Like I said, my tanks, my total consumption tank is stamped right on the tank per manufacturer.
All I would say with that is, unfortunately, we have to write the rules for everybody.
I understand.
Your tank, that's great, that's lovely. Unfortunately, we have to find a way to write the rules for everybody. And that's what I was looking at is, okay, if we split this right in half, we did a 500 gallon at 40. You're an 800 gallon trash tank, so you're gonna be in that same 1,000 gallon, $80 rate. If you see what I'm saying.
So basically what you're saying is you're gonna charge, and if I hear you correctly, you're gonna charge a minimum every time you dump $40 based off 500 gallons.
Bingo.
Okay, and so that equates to $200. I'm sorry, $160. So it's double instead of quadruple for me. And I'm not saying that's not unrealistic. Okay, but I also believe you're still back to an honor system where, you know, you only dump 500 gallons, I guess. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so let me throw something out. I'm just kind of spitballing on, but I talked a little bit to Kevin about this and Kevin, later this afternoon. What if we would have, just like a service fee or an admin fee, just kind of like we do for water, just so the guys, we can take them off their normal job. They got to go out and do it, even though they're spending 10 seconds.
I understand.
They're spending time out there. So say you have a $20 fee,
Unlock fee.
just, yeah. $20. Every time you come out there, it's gonna be at least $20. Then it would be, $8 per 100 of waste. Based on a gauge on tank, if your tank has a gauge. Which
Well,
yours does.
cyclops.
Your does, yeah. So you have a gauge. So you can prove that we're dumping 200 gallons.
Right, ish.
So, okay, so you're gonna pay, let's say you're gonna dump 200 gallons. You're
So I'm
gonna, you're
gonna
gonna
pay
have,
$36 every time I dump.
you're gonna have a $20 fee and
$16,
$16.
$36 every time I
36
dump.
bucks. Some guy that has a 3,000 gallon tank, he's gonna pay $20. Was 240 bucks. Is that right?
Okay, so if that was the case, and just 8th grade math for me, I'll keep it simple. Let's say it's $15. Okay, and then so that's $35 every time I dump of that 200-ish gallons. Okay, that equates to what? It's $140 a month? Is that right? 4 times?
Yeah.
Right, okay. Yeah, I mean, that's still 3 times what it costs me now.
Oh, yeah, still price.
Yeah, 3 times more. Yeah, I understand. I don't know what the right answer is. I'm just, once again, trying to explain that this is huge for me. You know, and I don't understand, I guess what I don't understand, and this is my lack of, or my being naive, is when the average household generates 4, 5, 6,000 gallons of waste. Why am I penalized for having a small business? And that's how I feel. And I get it, it's a privilege to be able to dump there, so please don't, I completely understand it. But I almost feel like I'm penalized. I dump max 1,000 right now, 1,000 gallons a month, and I pay 10 times what the average household does. I mean, I can do the math real quick, but
They're different scenarios.
okay,
The wastewater charge is based upon your water consumption.
in the winter,
So we're not metering the flow coming out of your house either. You have whatever's being brought in is of concentrations and has chemical additives to it.
that's true.
That are different than the flow. Plus it creates an immediate impact on the plant because we don't have dilution.
I understand that.
So you are correct in that the ability to even dump into the mechanical plant is a service that I'm not gonna say if we could get away with not doing it, we wouldn't.
I understand.
But it is not the ideal flow
Right,
of which the plants are designed for.
and I understand that.
Lagoons, as I have been told, function better for this type of
Mhm.
of contribution.
I see. And I completely understand, and I'm, once again, I'm not naive to that fact. Like I said, I'm just trying to figure out a way to continue to perform this service where it's affordable. That's all. And I don't know, I wish I had a solution. I don't, unfortunately. That would be fair for everybody. Myself being the, incipient startup guy to a large corporation.
Because ultimately, as your business grows and becomes more and more successful, and you are using more of those gallons, it would all balance out.
I wished I would, Austin, I wished I was where we weren't even having this conversation. If you wanna know the truth. Where this 1,000 gallons and whatever. I wish that was the least of my worries.
Steve, you touched on what I was thinking. I was thinking of some kind of proration to make it fair to the small.
And that's what we do now. That's what we do now. Correct me if I'm wrong. That's what, not we, but what is done now is basically, once again, the honor system. I dumped, 500 gallons and that's jotted down. and then the bill is sent, correct? Is that correct, Jane?
And ideally, we are looking to get away from any type of discretionary decision-making that needs to be made at the plant site.
We've had theft of service out there before it was,
Oh, I can imagine.
you know,
And unfortunately, I think you're gonna have that now. I think you're not maybe at the plant, but. You know, a manhole somewhere, or whatever, I don't know, but there's always that possibility, I guess.
always is.
Yeah.
A little easier to catch them doing it in town than out there at the
Absolutely,
wastewater
absolutely.
treatment plant too.
So, yeah, like I said, I guess I don't know exactly, once again, what the right answer is, I don't.
Well, I guess
Cause what do you pay now? Do you say Al, per month? What's your average?
100, Joe, for easy math, say 800 gallons, I tell you what, let's say 1,000 gallons a month. Okay, that's what, and now I dump once a week, so we'll say I dump 225 gallons a week, 4 weeks, we're gonna call that 1,000 gallons. That's an $80 charge to me.
Each week.
No, no,
No,
No, per month.
no, it's $80 per 1,000. Now, I don't hold that 1,000 gallons because one, it's detrimental on my equipment, I don't have offsite capabilities. Fuel consumption, we go on and on and on, right? And so I dump once a week, that's what my route is. And I come, and right now, for the amount of potties I have, that equates to that, for easy math, we'll call it that 225, that 1,000 gallons a month. Where, once again, this is my dilemma, and mine only, I understand that. We take that to a minimum of every time I dump, once a week, now you're dumping $1,000 or 1,000 gallons, that's an $80 charge. That's $320 a month versus $80 a month for me. I know that doesn't sound like a lot of money, and in the big scheme of things, it's not. But right now, for me, where I'm at in my business, this business, that's, I mean, that's huge.
That's where I was going with the $380 per.
But if you followed Austin's suggestion, if my quick math is right, you're gonna go down to 160 a month.
Yeah, versus 80, and that's a doable. I don't expect it to tailor just to me, just, once again, if there's something we can figure out to make it a little more palatable.
And 160 a month divided by how many potties?
30, right now I have 37 potties
So
out.
40 potties, that's $4 a potty.
that sounds doable.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. You know, you're gonna have to explain again to me what your suggestion was.
Right now, it's written for basically 1,000 gallons minimum.
Correct.
As you come in, you're gonna pay for 1,000 gallons minimum. We just cut it in half.
I see.
It's 500 gallons at 40.
No matter, every time you dump, that's 500 gallons, that's doable for me. Because I can hold a little bit on my truck, that's totally doable. I mean, it doubles obviously my cost, but that's to me more than fair.
No, I'm sorry, but that's what I was trying to say is that doesn't help your case though, because you said you have 1,000 gallon. You have 1,000 gallon system, 200 gallons in fresh water.
No. I have 1,500 gallon system.
Okay,
Okay, my total tank is 1,500 gallons. I have 700 in fresh water, 800 full capacity in waste.
okay,
So if you would get over that 500, you're gonna hit 1,000 gallon charge.
correct. He's in the same.
You're gonna have to bring it in.
And I do that. I don't, unless the Lord opened up and shined on me tomorrow and let me have double my potties, it's not an issue.
Tell them to sell that.
You know,
So we take it from $40 or from 80 to 40, from 1,000 to 500.
but I don't think that helps your,
Same for us.
Same for us.
That doesn't hurt, it's the same equation.
right?
No, I think,
The only thing,
But you're still on the honor system.
yeah, completely.
For measuring the volume though.
Right.
Whereas you,
Because most of your other contractors, anyway, they dump way more than that.
if they don't have a gauge that's gonna show them what their volume is, then you're gonna have to take it to the maximum the tank capacity.
Okay, so that's how you're wanting to write that is, if you've got a gauge, we'll
If
make.
there's no way to verify.
we can put that into the SOPs.
We don't want our guys going in there with a dipstick. Doing math.
Right, and once again, just so we're clear, my sight glasses are not, 17.1 or gallons, obviously. you know, that's about quarter of the way, you know, half, 3/4. I mean,
Is
you're
Is it
estimating.
gauged off or? I mean, is there
It's
a
like-
mark on your tank that says?
No, but I'll put a mark on there. I have no problem putting a mark on there. You know, if that's what, I mean, here's a halfway mark, yeah, I have no problem doing that.
But is that still an honor system where he's reporting that to the city or?
You know, the city comes out and, I mean, whenever they unlock the manhole to dump,
Verifying it.
yeah, they look,
They're doing that on all the time.
absolutely.
When I can't.
Yeah, and they do a great job. I mean, you know, Ashley and Riley do a great job.
So your sewage tank is how big did you say? 700? 800, okay, so halfway, that's pretty easy, that's 400.
Yeah,
For
yeah,
gas.
that's what I say. I mean,
But a fourth of the way down, a fourth of the measurement up, that's not 200 gallons.
No.
That's probably 150.
if that.
Yeah.
And that sight glass is not gonna be exactly.
I'm sure this is a cylinder.
Exactly right. You're 100% right. But to me, I mean, is it completely accurate for me? No, it is not. But it's doable. I mean, if that's the, I'll get aside, I mean, I don't know a better verbiage to use, but if that's the best solution, then it's better than the other one for me. You know, like I said, for you guys, though, it's still an honor system.
I
It's
mean, really, it helps what he's looking at doing, plus we can also review that when we get ready to review fees again. I mean, we can put it, see how it works, and then if we have to change some stuff, we can.
Well, we might get some guys that actually put sight gauges on their tanks.
You know, like I said, I really hope next year we don't have this conversation, if you will. Have more potties. I'm coming 2-3 times a week.
Yeah.
You know, I mean. I just don't have that luxury right now. How about that?
I mean, I'd be okay with redrafting it like that.
Motion?
Well, we have to do it based on, you know, if they don't have a gauge.
Yeah, we might need to spend a little time
Yeah.
working on the wording
Okay.
of that.
Can I ask a question? What other than people not being honorable is wrong with what's going on now? I'm assuming that's the issue.
Try to keep track of record keeping and we want to simplify the operating procedures out there
I understand.
to accommodate multiple operators. Right now, we're cross-training everybody, so they have to learn a lot of different skills.
Yeah.
And learn different, so keeping the fee schedule as simple as possible,
Right,
is helpful.
We don't know what you're bringing in your tank,
right. Absolutely, you don't.
and we don't know what anybody else is either.
Right.
We assume it's sewage.
Right, and that's what I say. I'm assuming we're having this.
With our system, where it's not a drying kit or sludge system, it's microbes.
Mhm.
I mean, you could put something in there.
Kill it all.
Kill it all and shut us down.
Right. I understand that.
So for us, we want to know who's dumping, how much they dump. And at what time, and from that, we could probably tell who caused the problem.
Right, absolutely. And I totally understand tracking that, I was just curious as.
We are not seeking additional business in this,
I
in this particular. avenue.
Yeah.
Yes.
It is a service based upon the recreational nature of the area.
Right, and like I said, I completely appreciate and I call it a privilege. And I do realize that, and once again, I appreciate that. You know,
Well, we're sympathetic to your needs, and that's why the discussion happened the way it did too.
right, and once again, like I said, but yeah, so basically, if in a nutshell, to keep doing what I'm doing, it basically cost me $160 versus $80. That's doable. Right? I mean, yeah, I don't like it, I don't like spending any more money than I have to, but hey, that's okay.
So we're gonna, so to be clear, what we're talking about is $40 for 500 gallons. Correct?
Minimum.
$40 up to the first 500 gallons and $40.
How about $40 for 500 gallons or any part thereof?
Or any part thereof.
And based on some mechanical measurement of the tank.
Right. If no mechanical
Or
verification.
no measurement, however you want to phrase that. You go by the
Max.
the tank size, the radiant for the tank. And so if someone says, you know, hey, it's the end of the season, I only have a couple hundred gallons in my tank, a 3,000 gallon tank, you know what?
Yeah.
You can have to pay that anyway.
Right.
And it's a convenience for the operator, not for the city. You
Right.
Still have to open it up and.
Yeah, no matter what, it makes, it does not lessen your workload at all.
If your 800-gallon tank did not have sight glasses on it, you would be paying $80.
Correct.
Absolutely right.
So what if it looked like this, $40 for any 500-gallon or part thereof based upon site size or visual verification?
Thank you. I don't mean.
That way we can get clarity back.
I see the wheels are spinning.
I mean, it seems like you gotta have the. Whichever is less language or something like that, I would think, if this much, I don't have it in front of me, and I'm trying
Yeah.
to keep track. It'd be
Why
easier.
don't you draft it for them and we'll send it off to them tomorrow and take a look. Let's just table this to them.
Yeah.
It's not, this isn't time sensitive, is it?
We're getting by. It's not ideal.
Do you need a motion to table?
Probably so. We don't,
No, we don't act.
all right,
Just come back.
no action.
Do I need to come in?
You
Oh, I don't know.
know.
Me too.
I mean, you can come back if you
Kevin
want.
will send you what, he'll circulate the draft to us for our input. And once we kind of give him the nod on that, then he can send it to you.
Sounds good to me.
Thanks for coming in and
Thank you.
sharing your insight.
Thank you for listening to me.
Thanks, Al.
Thanks.
All right, report to city attorney.
He sends his regards. Actually, he didn't. He probably didn't give you guys a thought this week.
And I'm sure he did.
He did, he actually sent me an email.
Well, you're right, higher than the rest of us. Congratulations.
He wasn't able
Report to
to-
city manager.
I do not.
All right, this is not council member, report month, so I entertain a motion to adjourn.
To adjourn.
Second. We have a motion by Councilman Block, second by Councilman Dupierre to adjourn. Please vote.
Four yes, one absent.
Motion carried, we're adjourned. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you for your discussion.
That's in there and they get my privilege.
Like, most of just be a pain in the butt for the employees, factor.